people would come to him for answers, he would not give you the answer. He would just pull out a book and have them read to them, because he knew that unless I or somebody else found the answer ourselves, that he would do us more harm than good, by trying to avoid us the struggle of getting to the answer. So books, let the words speak to the individual, not their ears and their minds, not your voice, and they will find exactly what they need to hear. Also, giving books as gifts for employee recognition, quarterly reviews, putting them on a reading program is great. You say, well, most of my people won't read. You know, that may be true. Because we've heard that earlier, reading is hard work, and until people really take the time to develop that, and that may take a lifetime, books may go unread. But if you can just have a book in the hands of one employee that changes their life and gives them a whole new life, that's amazing. I am all for the umbrellas with the company logo, the stress squeeze ball, love that stuff, ordered it for my employees, gave it out. But I also would tuck a book in there too, because you just don't know if they've ever been given one, what kind of a signal that sends to them, and what reading that can do in their life. Okay. Lastly, how you should read. A lot of companies now are kind of doing like brown bag luncheons where they are kind of reading together and out loud. Now, some people don't like to read out loud. That's okay. You can absolutely ask for volunteers. Some people aren't very strong readers and they'd rather just listen to that. But there is something about the spoken word. I mean, how many times do you understand a passage better when you are asked to read it out loud? I love listening to books on audio just as much as I do reading them, because sometimes the word spoken can have just as much an impact as reading the written word. And some of your employees may like to hear it aloud. So again, why we stress how to read aloud and together, it really again gives you a sense of community. You're working on something together, greater awareness of a common goal that you're all achieving. And basically, to summarize how to read, Edmund Burke says, to read without reflecting is like eating without digesting. And that pretty much says it all about that. All right. So lastly, we're going to cover what to read. And a lot of people, this is a very personal decision. And if you are into the latest and greatest in your field as far as science, technology, or processes, read the newest first. But for literature, inspiration, management, that kind of material, read the oldest. The greats have always said that, because the classics are always modern. And I'm going to talk about some things where absolutely we love to share the classics with people. The Napoleon Hills, the Dale Carnegie, the Og Mandinos, but we love to share some of the new stuff too. But the choice of your books, that John Lubbock says, like that of friends, is the serious duty. We are as responsible for what we read as what we do. And I know you're going to see a big list on you and you're like, oh my gosh, all these books. But I just wanted to point out that if you just take 15 minutes of concentrated reading every day, you can get through the great authors in about 5 years. So just start with little bites until you develop the real skill for it. But Dad always instilled in me to read biographies and autobiographies. And the beauty of this is that it's, they say, the charm of fiction with the satisfaction of being real. I mean, when you see a great story and then it's like, oh, and it's based on a true story, you're like, oh, it just really brings it home. And you know, when I get input from consultants or experts about how they're going to help me, my very first question is, have you been where I am, and have you done what I'm trying to do successfully? If not, you know, I'm not sure that this is going to work for me. But with a book, I can pick a leader like some of these gentlemen above here and really get the best from them. I want to share with you, and again, because of time constraints, one of the things here is General George S. Patton. And I'll click on this here. And since most of you are entrepreneurs and business leaders on this, I kept a copy of this. I'll let you look at it here on the website. But basically, this little pamphlet that you get through in a half an hour, $1.37. This is some of the best quotes, on leadership and decision making I have ever seen. I would keep this in my desk, and there'd be days when I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm nervous about this decision. I'm not sure what to do. I've got counsel out the wazoo. I've looked at the data. You know, what am I going to do? And I pull out something on Patton, and I read a quote like, be willing to make decisions. That's the most important quality in the leader. And if I do my full duty, the rest will take care of itself. Well, I know I can do my full duty, and the rest will take care of itself. He has quotes like, always do everything you ask of those in command. And my very favorite from my days at the academy that we would memorize and say, never tell people how to do things, tell them what to do, and they will surprise you with their ingenuity. So again, just this little book is chock full of little quotes, as are these other two. If you go to the website, we have a fabulous one on Booker T. Washington about how he came up through the slave ranks, founded the university, and how the value of education, what that means to him, and how that turns us into the correct type of person. Abraham Lincoln, my goodness, need I see more on that? His wisdom and what he went through, and the compassionate leadership that he exhibited should always be a motivation to us. And when we consider the problems we deal with versus some of the problems that these greats deal with, it really helps you put things in perspective. Some of the motivational classics, and again, this list could go on and on and on. Every day I get in and I see somebody else's list online or whatever, and it's like, oh, that's good, that's good. There's so much good stuff out there. One of the motivational classics that we have here, again, and one of the little ones is Acre of Diamonds, and this is by Russell Conwell. And again, for those of you that know him, he is the founder of Temple University, and you'll see over on the description here, as this pulls up, that they call him the penniless millionaire. And why that is because as much money as he made, he roughly 11 million, and that was back in those days, he gave every penny away. And his whole story was about how you don't have to go charging off in life to find different things that you're looking for. What you can find acres of diamonds, literally right there in your own backyard. And he talks about that it is within the reach of every man and woman to get this, and he also talks about why we ought to get rich and what we can do with those riches, which is you know, some really great points of encouragement. Next one is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And these, for the business people too, next to Napoleon or next to Patton's, this is, we just redid this. These are Napoleon Hill's famous 13 principles. This is, again, a little booklet. This is chock full of quotes. When you guys have to give speeches, when you have to write blogs, when you have to talk to people or counsel people, there's so much good quote and material from which to draw on here. Just a couple of his quotes. Napoleon Hill says, the best way to sell yourself to others is to first sell the others to you. And another quote is, effort only fully releases its reward after a person refuses to quit. And again, as you're going through the tough decisions of running the business, the joys too, but the heartache, these can be really great things. Again, Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, a classic, an all-time classic, rock solid. He's got in it the 6 ways to make people like you, 12 ways to win people to your way of thinking. And again, you know, everybody sits there and says, well, I don't want, you know, well, I don't necessarily want my people to like me. Well, they better respect you, and your good people will like you. And no, running a business is not a personality contest, but if your people do not see that you are interested in your fellow men, they're going to spot that in you as a leader, and you're not going to be credible. And that's kind of what we're talking about. And then a lot of people like inspirational stories. I think of growing up reading Pilgrim's Progress, where it was kind of a metaphor, allegory. And again, we have Og Mandino's The Greatest Salesman in the World, which has been around again for decades, and is about a journey of a gentleman over in the Middle East and how he uncovered these scrolls that basically held the secrets to life. And you know, basically one of them says, I will persist until I succeed. The prizes of life are at the